Yeah, it's kind of bright out here. So, as you can see, I'm sitting outside. I'm actually supposed to be mowing my lawn, but I figured I would take a minute to talk and just kind of give more of an impression of what this whole reluctant dad thing is and why I consider myself one. So, simple history. I am 34 years old. I am married, have been for about 9 years. It'll actually be 9 years next month. And I have two kids, two daughters, a 7, almost 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Now, why I consider myself a reluctant dad. I always wanted kids. Growing up, obviously as a kid, I enjoyed kids. But as a young adult, I enjoyed kids. I enjoyed playing with kids, nieces and nephews of friends, and my own nieces and nephews eventually. I wanted to be a teacher. That idea has changed. It's a whole nother story. But just kids in general were always something that I saw in my life. And then, of course, I got married, and we had kids, and we had them earlier than I had originally wanted. Everybody has their plans, their life plans of how they want things to be. And mine was, of course, to be married for at least a couple years, enjoy that first before we started a family. Due to medical issues, I shouldn't say issues, let's say medical conditions, it was recommended that if we wanted kids of our own, that we start now, basically, was the mentality at the time. The chances were better to be able to have our own kids as opposed to adopting or foster care if we did it that way. And so we did. And we actually had our firstborn just a little more than a year after we got married. Sorry, I feel like there's going to be a glare, but oh well. And then, of course, a couple years later, we had our second. And I realized very quickly that once I had kids, I didn't want them. And that sounds mean, and I don't mean it to sound mean, but the mentality that changes, the desire to have kids, it's very different once you have them. You think you know what it's going to be like, but you honestly have no idea. You don't know what having kids is going to do for your life until you have them. And I realized that what it is, it's not that I don't want kids. I know that sounded weird. I kind of just backtracked, but it's that I'm an introvert. I like my quiet. I like my space. And I always knew that about me growing up, especially my teen years, my adult years. I was always the shy kid or, the kind of quiet one, the wallflower. Whatever I'm talking. That's not to say I didn't have friends and I wasn't social. I am. I can be social. I do have friends. But you give me a preference, I'm going to prefer a much quieter environment. I'd much rather, have dinner and hang out with 2 friends or 3 friends than be at some big party with a bunch of people. At work, I would much rather work by myself or as a team of just 1 or 2 with other people than on a giant crew with a bunch of people. And so it's one of those where when you have kids, it changes things. You can't be alone as much. You can't be by yourself as much, especially the smaller they are. The younger the kids are, the more dependent they are on you. And you have to be available. You have to be. And that's part of parenting. And I get that. And I'm not knocking that. And that is amazing. And I love my kids. I do. I'm not even trying to say I don't. But I wasn't ready for that kind of change. And so this whole reluctant dad thing, what that is it's finding a way. And I know, like I said, it's been almost a decade since I first had a kid. But it's finding a way to make those adjustments, to find a balance between being a father, being a good parent, being involved in my kids' lives, and at the same time having my space, being able to get away from all of it, to separate myself, to continue to be able to be myself as an introvert and handle that. And so that's kind of where it is. That's what this is. Some of the ways I handle that, just for pointers, is one of the things is in the house, I have my office. And what it is it's basically, the house has 2 kind of living room, family room spaces, whatever you want to call them. And so for a while, when we first moved into this house, we actually had a spare bedroom. Our girls were set up to share a bedroom. And so we had an extra bedroom. And so we had taken that and kind of turned that into my office space. And that's where, I keep my computer. I've got, my toys. I'm a bit of a nerd and geek. There are Legos around. I enjoy building them. various movies, books, just my own stuff, if you will. It's kind of my space to be whatever I want it to be. And that's kind of my room, if you will. My girls know that that's not a playroom for them. That's not to say they can't ever come in, but they're not supposed to be in there without a parent's approval. Eventually I did put a TV in there, all my video game stuff. So when I want to play video games or whatever, I don't consider myself a gamer, but I do enjoy them. That's in there. And the girls have their games too, which they're allowed to play on, and use, those systems. And they're allowed to be in there, but again, with adult permission, just because that's kind of my space. And so it's kind of where I'm able to disappear, as it were. So yeah, so that's that. And then I do other things where, I enjoy driving. Driving relaxes me. And so there will be times when my wife can tell I'm kind of getting overloaded. Just the kids are being, they're being good, but they're being loud and rowdy, as kids normally are. Or, there's whatever going on, and she can see I'm just kind of I'm getting overstimulated, I'm getting overwhelmed, I'm getting just agitated, irritated, whatever you want to call it. And she can see that, and she's amazing at recognizing that. And she will actually, in the most loving way possible, and I say this as I know it's meant out of love, she will kick me out of the house. Because she knows it's getting that way, and she can totally handle it. Her personality is built for that. Mine is not. So she'll kick me out and she'll say, go hang out with your friends, or go for a drive, or go to the gym, or just whatever, knowing that I need to separate myself again from it. And so that is what the reluctant dad thing is. It's not that I don't want to be a dad. It's not that I don't love my kids. It's not that I don't want to be involved. It's just that it's a different type of dad. It's a different type of parent. It's the parent that loves their kids, but loves being away from them from times too. I cherish those moments where I am away from them, whether it's out on a date with my wife, or on a trip of some kind, just some little short thing, or even at work or at the gym or whatever. And it's funny because there's some society stigma where that's looked down on, where, when people hear that, they want to think you're a bad parent, you're an uninvolved parent. And it's not like that. It's not like that at all. I can tell you my kids' favorite things. I can tell you their favorite colors or foods or books or TV shows. I know what's going on with their friends. I'm still there. I need my space from it too. So that's kind of the basis of where all this is and what this is. What I'm thinking this channel is going to start becoming is just maybe once a week, just talking about something that came up that week that has to do with either parenting or maybe something individual in my life that's going on. And what I kind of want this to turn into is, I'd love for this to become kind of a sounding board. I would love for other people who are dealing with the same struggles or issues, if they have questions, if they just kind of want to know random information about me or what's going on, I would love for this to be a sounding board for that. And so I'll ask that anybody who watches this, if you want to say anything, if you have questions, if you want to know something, put it down in the comments down below. And I'll do what I can to address them, and maybe we can have some good conversation with this and turn it into that. So for now, I will say thanks for watching. Please feel free to, of course, like every YouTuber says, like and subscribe, and all the normal stuff. And please tell your friends if you want to help spread this around. Let's have some fun with this. And I'll see you guys next time.